In this video, we'll cover the player profile for 2022 NFL Draft prospect Forrest Rhyne. Now, who is Forrest Rhyne? He's a linebacker from Villanova, and as pro day, he measured in at 6'1", 233 pounds with 30-inch arms. He's the 23rd ranked linebacker on the most recent big board, and he ranks 209th overall on that board. Now, Ryan's size and arm length aren't ideal for the NFL, but it's hard to argue with his production and tape at Villanova. The Pennsylvania native was a Colonial Athletic Association, or CAA, Defensive Player of the Year in 2021 and a first-team All-CAA selection in 2019, 2020, and 2021. According to Villanova's website, Ryan amassed 152 tackles and 4.5 sacks this past season, including 11 tackles, 8 of which were solo tackles, and a sack and a half against Penn State, and which is probably the best competition he's faced throughout his college career. After 5 seasons in college, Ryan is a technician position. He just knows what he's doing, and he studies tape ridiculously consistently. There was an interview he did with, I think it was Sports Illustrated, or maybe it was one like Sports Illustrated subset websites for the Colts, where he talked about how often he studied film, talking about studying it for up to 5 hours a day. And you can tell that he definitely does that. I mean, he definitely is locked in when he's on the field, and he knows what he's doing, and he's very good at recognizing what's going on around him. He's someone who can be a captain of the defense in a sense, and he was that for Villanova, being able to line up guys and being able to understand not just what his unit is doing, but also what the offense is trying to do. So he's one of the smartest defenders you'll find in this class, which is crucial given his lackluster physical traits per se. He's 6'1", 233, 30-inch arms. Not ideal for a linebacker spot, but his intelligence kind of makes up for that, and his play recognition makes up for that a little bit, which will make him a draftable prospect in my opinion. Ryan's pro day numbers weren't great, but they're workable. In terms of athletic testing, he falls slightly between Nephi Sewell from Utah, slightly behind him, but slightly ahead of someone like Michigan's Josh Ross. So he's going to be, again, someone drafted in the late rounds, but he has workable traits. And again, he's a hard worker. He's got a really endless motor in a sense, and he studies film religiously. So I think he's going to come into the NFL, and it's going to be difficult to make the jump from Villanova, where you're a monster, to the NFL level, where you're just fighting for a roster spot. But I do believe that he has the traits and work ethic to get it done and be a player who makes an NFL roster, and is able to, at the very least, make an impact on special teams immediately. Now, despite his short arms, Ryan is an excellent form tackler. He's patient, keeps his body square to the ball carrier during plays, and possesses a surprising amount of closing burst. So within that, I would say 5 yards of the ball, he is much quicker than I would expect. It's surprising how quickly he's able to close down and make plays when he gets within 5 or 7 yards of the ball. College offenses tested Ryan infrequently in coverage, and that could be an area of concern in the NFL. His lack of straight line speed and quickness in short areas could compound these problems along with his arm length. Ryan's motor runs hot, and he's quick to diagnose plays. Despite not having silent-to-silent range, there are instances on tape of Ryan making plays outside of the hashes. He projects as a two-down player capable of lining up inside, basically inside linebacker, for the defense that likes to blitz its linebackers. So basically, not going to play him on passing downs if you can avoid it, and put him in a defense that's capable of, or wants to, blitz its inside linebackers frequently. That way you can also kind of hide him in coverage in a sense and get him a chance to go and make a play on the quarterback, because he did that fairly well at Villanova. Given the depth at linebacker this year, I wouldn't expect Ryan to hear his name before the 7th round. Now, I do like Ryan quite a bit, but I understand the physical traits, not necessarily having those. And yeah, you can be this hardworking linebacker with all this historic production from a small school. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to translate to the NFL. I think Ryan will make the NFL. I think he'll be drafted, and I think he'll make a roster. But I can understand teams being hesitant to pull the trigger on a pick for him anywhere above the 7th round. And that will wrap up our little talk here on Forrest Rhyne, linebacker from Villanova.